You come down here to some of these other players. I mean, these guys, this guy's 58 overall. He is a man-to-man, a bump and run corner, and he can't bump and he can't run. What is up, everybody? It is Jake back with the MF Film Room. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things EA College Football, hit that red subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you like college football content, go subscribe to my other channel, Master Football with Jake Posey. Link is in the description. But enough about all that EA College Football content. Let's go. All right, guys, we have our last of our non-specialists, a.k.a. the kickers and the punters. We have our last position group here that we've reviewed. We've done quarterbacks, halfbacks, fullbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, all the offensive line, all the defensive line, all the linebackers, and we settle back on the defensive backs. I'm really excited for this one. This isn't as big as the wide receivers and tight ends was. That was an issue. That was a big video. This one's going to be pretty big too. It's not as big. There's 7 different archetypes we're going to go through, but you guys already know how it works here with this. This is the last one we got in terms of the non-specialists. We'll go through the kickers and punters at some point, but you know how it works here. We're going to go over our chapters, and we're going to go ahead and get rolling. All right, so our chapters here, we're going to go through our method, then we're going to review each archetype's initial ratings and abilities and their positives and negatives. We have the boundary corner, the bump and run corner, the field corner, the zone corner, the box specialist, free safety, strong safety, the coverage specialist, free safety, strong safety, and the hybrid free safety and strong safety. Now, I've tried to find a difference between both the free and the strong, kind of in the same way between the thumper, middle linebacker and the thumper Sam and the thumper Will. The only exception was the athlete thumper. Those guys are very different, as you saw in my previous video. But the safeties, for the most part, they registered the same. What we're going to do also is we're going to rank them according to the use case. So let's get into that method right now. All right, so we are going to use Georgia for recruiting purposes because it's just Kirby Smarts are really easy to recruit with. We're going to recruit 3 players from each of the following star levels: 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We might not have enough 5 stars because their numbers are so low, but we're going to do our best. 1 stars also don't provide enough value for us to review. I'm just sorry. It just is what it is. And then we're going to attempt to sign all of them and review how they turned out. So without further ado, we're going to start on the defensive back, the corner side, and start with the boundary corner. So talking about the boundary corner, these guys are fun. I actually like these guys a lot. They've got the really cool combination of a couple different things here. I believe that they previously on last year's game, they were the slot cornerback. Boundary basically means the short side of the field, and the field cornerback means the wide side of the field. Some defensive backfields work like that. The boundary corner doesn't have as much foot speed as the field corner, so they're going to be, one of those guys who's going to play on the short side of the field. They've got a lot of cool things about them. There's a lot of cool, unique things that they can do that other people can't. They've also got a really unique ability, as you see that quick jump ability right there, that relates to their ability to rush the passer. But without further ado, let's get into those initial ratings and their abilities. So for the boundary corner, and then for the initial ratings, like I said, from what I can tell, they are the former slot cornerback. They are quicker than fast. They usually actually have pretty high acceleration. They're also very strong for a defensive back, especially the corners. They have pretty good press, good block shedding, good tackle for a cornerback. Again, good for them, not good overall. Their catching is higher amongst the higher level recruits. They don't appear to be more man or zone coverage biased. Again, they're kind of like the do-it-all. Like they can play a little bit of man, a little bit of zone, a little bit of press. They can do a little bit of tackling, a little bit of blitzing. They're kind of in between all those things. For them, their man coverage, and this kind of deviates here between some of the guys here. Their man coverage trains man press and change of direction, and their zone trains zone play recognition and awareness. And their abilities: jammer, improved press technique; blanket coverage, improved man coverage; layout, improved dive catches; wrap up, improved standard tackles; and then quick jump, quicker jump off the snap when pass rushing. And for the positives of these guys, I think that they're one of my higher level guys I have on my rankings down here. Maybe not necessarily the gem rankings, but they are one of the higher level guys because they are an elite combination of abilities for a slot cornerback. They can play press man, jammer, and blanket coverage, make diving interceptions, layout, play the run, wrap up, and they can blitz. They have quick jump. It's so sick. Have you ever seen a corner with quick jump, blitzing off the edge, especially when it's like a slot corner? They come fast. They are awesome. They also have 4 abilities from 3 cheap trees. The man coverage tree gives you jammer and blanket coverage. The run stopping tree gives you wrap up. And then the hands tree gives you that layout for that spectacular catch. And then again, I would say that they're the most dog cornerback. What I mean by that is like they're the strongest, the best block shedding, and the best tackle. They're the most alpha. Now they're a corner, so they're not going to be super alpha. But of the corners, like they're the one that you want to get into a fight with the least. They're definitely a problem. Now, unfortunately for the negatives here for these guys, you need to put a lot of points into an expensive tree, the quickness tree. For quick jump, again, the quick jump needs acceleration only. And also, they generally need points into quickness for speed too. They're not the slowest cornerback. They're the second slowest cornerback, but they're not very fast, so that's kind of an issue for them. They can play outside, but they're mostly designed for slot cornerback. So, again, the issue with that, I mean, you can, like I said, you can do it. The problem is like quick jumps, one of their only abilities where like it would make more sense if they were closer in. You can, I mean, again, you can do whatever the hell you want, but I think that they're mostly designed for that slot corner position. That the foot speed, the blitzing ability, you want them on the inside, not on the outside. And then most spectacular catch for these cornerbacks is low, so lots of points into hands is needed for layout. I mean, like they'll come out and they'll have like 34 spectacular catch, and they need like 70-ish to get layout. So that's one of the bigger issues with these guys. Like I said, I like these guys a lot. If you can get these guys with the higher level dev trait, they can be awesome as well. All right, up next are the bump and runs. And the bump and runs, I mean, they're what you think they are. They are the press man corners. These are the guys that you want up in people's faces, getting in there, trying to make sure they prevent people. Again, so whenever you see like a lot of like one-on-ones, they're always in press man technique. No safety help over the top. Doesn't matter. I don't need it. These are the guys you want. They've got a lot of cool things about them. They've also got a couple really big holes. But again, you could address those, but let's get into that breakdown real quick. All right, so for the bump and runs, their initial ratings, they appear to be the fastest cornerbacks, especially amongst the higher level recruits. I mean, you can get a recruit, if you get a 4-star or a 5-star, he's going to have 95 speed, 96 acceleration off the get-go. He's going to be very, very fast. They have decent power, maybe not hit power, but more so like strength, and they're jumping. They have really, really good jumping abilities. Not all cornerbacks have that, by the way. They all appear to have more man coverage than zone coverage, which is pretty obvious. One of the issues, though, they saw is their press isn't as high as you would think, again, for the bump part of the bump and run. Their block shedding also appears to be average for a cornerback. Now, for them, their man coverage trains man press, awareness, and change of direction, whereas the zone just trains zone and play recognition. Their abilities, blanket coverage, improve man coverage, jammer, improve press technique, house call, improve interception attempts, ball hawk, improve breaks on passes, and then knockout, improve catch knockouts in coverage. All right, for the positives here, I mean, the best movement athletes at cornerback. So if you go and you check these guys out, speed, acceleration, agility, and change of direction and jumping for these guys are all awesome. I mean, you can see all these freshmen here. I mean, you've got a couple 95, 95s. You've got 94, 92s. You've got 86, 89s. 80. This guy's 58 overall. He's not even good. 87, 89, which is one of the quicker guys. 88 agility, 89, 8 change of direction. And then I want to just make sure I can prove to you guys too, they actually have really good jump. I mean, these guys are not good players. 57, 58, and they have 87 jump. Some corners do not have close to 87 jump. Those higher level guys, 91, 92 jump, they're very, very dynamic athletes in terms of raw physical movement athleticism. And for them, all of their abilities are in cheap trees and 4 coverage abilities that can impact man coverage. So blanket coverage, jammer, ball hawk, and knockout. So improve man coverage, improve jamming ability, improve breaks on passes, and then improved ability to knock it out. So literally, they can just be in man coverage, and every aspect of man coverage they can do well. They can press you, cover you well, they can break on the ball, and they can knock the ball out even if you catch it. They're dynamic in man coverage. 3.5 of which come from one cheap tree, the man coverage. So you can get 3.5 abilities from one tree because blanket coverage, jammer, ball hawk, and knockout all have that man coverage ability because you know that man coverage does man coverage, press, awareness, and change of direction. It's very dominant to have that. Now, the negatives, though, unfortunately, is every single recruit was low in zone coverage, and some were even low in man coverage. So coverage points in man and zone are most needed out of all of the cornerback recruits. So these are some of the higher level recruits here, and you come over here and they have like 75 man, which is good, 65 zone and 70 press, which is not as good as you would imagine. I mean, these guys are like 4 and 5-star players right here, and they only got 70 press coverage. You come down here to some of these other players. I mean, this guy's 58 overall. He is a man-to-man, a bump and run corner, and he can't bump and he can't run. So again, he can jump and he's got decent speed, but that's one of the issues though, is these guys are they're the worst overall in coverage out of all the guys. They're the best athletes for movement, and they're the worst in coverage. Like I said before with that too, they're kind of missing the bump in the bump and run. Their press is not nearly as high as their name reflects. I do think, and again, in the gem rankings, they're going to rank pretty high because you do have to kind of put them in the oven a little bit there because their athleticism is so good. All you got to do is put points into cheap trees. You put points into man coverage only, and this dude's going to get good. But again, you still have to kind of let them cook a little bit here. All right, up next are the field corners. And for field, what that means, as you know, the boundary plays on the short side. Some defenses work like that, where they'll have somebody who's going to be on the short side of the field, somebody's on the wide side of the field. The field cornerback is going to be the guy that is going to be on the wide side of the field. These guys are the best pure cover corners in terms of their coverage abilities in the draft. They might not be the fastest, as a matter of fact, they are the slowest, but they're the best guys in terms of natural coverage ability. They've got a couple things about them, especially ability related, that are really cool. Let's get into breaking them down real quick. So for their initial ratings, again, they appear to be the worst athletes in terms of cornerbacks. Their speed is really bad. Their strength is bad. Their acceleration is bad. Their agility is bad. And their change of direction is bad. They're also not powerful at all. Their hit power, their block shedding, and their jumping are also really, really low. So as you can see, all these freshmen here, I mean, these guys are like slow. 85, 80, 82, 85. 85, 90. This guy right here, this guy is a 4-star elite dev trait. He's going to need that elite dev trait because he's got 86 speed. I mean, these guys are some of the slowest, if not the slowest, out of all these guys. Change of direction can even be bad. Their strength is terrible. They've got a lot of issues. Their coverages are pretty good, but in terms of like their ability, I mean, even checking out their jumping ability, 70 jump, 75 jump, 79 jump. Ooh, we've got ourselves an 85 jump. That's pretty good. Again, these guys, they're not dynamic athletes. Now, they make up for it with the fact that their coverages are pretty good and they have very high play recognition. They don't really have any weaknesses across their coverage ratings. High play recognition. Their man, zone, and press is pretty balanced. Their man coverage, kind of like similar to the bump and run corner, trains man, press, awareness, and change of direction. And their zone trains zone and play recognition. So their abilities: wrap up, improve tackles; robber, improve movement and zone coverage; knockout, improve catch knockouts; blanket coverage, improve man; and ball hawk, improve breaks on passes. Now for the positives, all they need is a bit of athleticism, and they are the best cover corners. They're the only corner with explicitly man and zone coverage abilities. So you think about like ball hawk. Ball hawks improve breaking on passes. That's not explicitly man or zone. That's just a breaking on the pass. But you think about robber, improve movement and zone coverage. That improves your zone coverage. And then blanket coverage, improve man coverage. They're the only one that has explicitly something that helps out man and explicitly something that helps out zone. And with them as well, all of their abilities are in cheap trees. 3.5 abilities come from one cheap tree, which is the man coverage tree: robber, knockout, blanket coverage, and ball hawk. And then wrap up needs points in a cheap tree as well, which is the run stopping tree. Now, the negatives, though, unfortunately for these guys, is you are like almost required to put points into the quickness tree, just because their speed and their acceleration, their change of direction, their agility, it's pretty slow. You're going to need to make sure you put points into that because I saw that guy right there. He had elite dev trait. He had 86 speed. Dude, if he was trying to guard Jeremiah Smith, he's a 4-star. If he was trying to guard Jeremiah Smith, it'd be over. He needs to get a lot more speed. He needs to get more athletic as an athlete out there. And like I said, also, maybe even strength, or even the power tree for jumping and strength. Their jumping's low. Their strength is low. Again, they're the pure cover corner. They need help in the other areas. And their tackle is initially low. So even if you want to get wrap up, you have to put about a good amount of points into it just to get it. A lot of their tackle might be like 58, and you need 88 to get it, to get bronze wrap up. So that's kind of an issue with these guys. And last but not least, we have the zone cornerbacks. And I'll let you know, I haven't recruited zone cornerbacks as much. However, they've got a lot of really cool things about them to discuss because, again, they're going to be really good in zone coverage. I can't even imagine somebody who's a zone corner and they're not good at zone coverage. Although I did admit that the bump and run corners were not exactly great at the bump part of bumping and running. But again, these guys, lots of cool abilities. You play a zone-heavy scheme, you will really like these guys for a lot of reasons. Let's get into those. All right, for the zone cornerbacks, so for their initial ratings, they're just behind the bump and runs for the fastest cornerback archetype, and they're not as strong as the boundary corners, but they're close. They're pretty athletic. I mean, you can see down here with these guys. These guys maybe not as fast as the bump and runs, and they're not going to be as strong, but they're like generally low 60s for the strength. You know, they're going to be low 90s for the speed. They're pretty athletic. I mean, as a matter of fact, this guy, one of the best corners that I got was this guy who's actually, I mean, this guy's insane. 94, 67 strength. This guy is going to be a freaking problem. Like I said, They're not as fast as the man demands, and they're not as strong as the boundaries, but they're second to both. They're a good combination there. And for them, they all appear to have more zone coverage than man coverage. I mean, that kind of makes sense there. And some of their man coverage, though, is like bad, and their press is among the worst of all the cornerbacks. So even talking about these guys, like I said, they're pretty fast, they're pretty strong. This guy's one of the higher level guys. He's a 5-star. He's got 70 man and 71 zone, which is one of the better guys on the team. You get down here, though, this guy's 73-70, which isn't bad. Then you get to like a 3-star, it's 66, 68, 55. I mean, this guy's 66 overall. He's a recruit that many of us are going to get. A guy like that, you can win championships keeping that guy on the field or on the team. Impact dev trait, you're going to train him up a little bit, but you got to pour points into man coverage and for that man coverage and that press, because some of it can be like awful. And then continuing on for them, their block shedding is low, but it's not the lowest among the cornerbacks. Their strength and jumping are kind of okay as well. Their man coverage trains man press and change of direction. Their zone trains zone play recognition and awareness. For their abilities, knockout, improved catch knockouts and coverage. Layout, improved dive catches. House call, improved interception attempts. Those are 2 interception-related abilities. Ball hawk, improved breaks on passes. And then bouncer, zone chucks, fatigue defenders. Them and the lurker are the only people in the game that have that ability. And then for the positives, like I said, they're just a little less athletic than the bump and run cornerbacks, but they're stronger. They're not as strong as the boundaries. They're not as fast as the bump and runs. They're second to both. A really athletic combination, though. They're obviously the best in zone coverage, and with that bouncer ability, they can wear out offensive players. All of their abilities can impact zone coverage, and they're all in cheap trees. So knockout, man in zone, coverage trees, layout and house caller in the hands tree, and ball hawk and bouncer are in the zone coverage tree. So, I mean, ball hawk impacts all plays, but I'm basically saying you can just run a zone heavy scheme and all their abilities will impact every single play. They also have multiple interception related abilities, layout and house call. The tree that trains both of them, the hands tree, is also a cheap tree. And if you had to choose, one of the more positives here is that if you had to choose all of your 2 to 4 cornerbacks on the field to be one archetype, this one might be the best. You run a cover heavy 2 scheme, a cover 3 heavy scheme, something like that. These guys are going to be dynamic. I mean, imagine running a cover 2 or Tampa 2 scheme with 2 corners, 2 safeties. The safeties have the flats. The corners have those hook zones. They're going to break on balls. They're going to knock balls out. They're going to be chucking offensive players. It will be a really, really dominant thing to have. Now, the negatives, unfortunately, is the reason why I don't recruit them as much. They're bad in man coverage, and their press are bad too. Their man coverage, I think, is better than a bump and run cornerback's zone coverage, but it's still not very good. And then there's the adage that you see out there a lot of times where and this is an adage in football. I heard this from PFF. I know PFF, people have given them crap, but they've ran the stats on this, and they know that zone coverage gives up more yards. Man coverage gives up more big plays. The issue with these guys is that I don't think you can have a pure zone corner team and dominate every single game. I think that there has to be there's 2 things you need to have on defense to be a great defense. You have to be able to stop the run, and you have to be able to run man-to-man on certain times. And zone corners, they need a lot of points in that man coverage to do so. And also with this, most spectacular catch for these cornerbacks is low, so you have to put a lot of points into hands to get that layout ability. Like, there's not so many negatives with these guys, but that lack of that man coverage is one of the reasons why I've kind of avoided them a little bit. And now we get to our box specialist safeties. And I'll let you guys know I am super biased when it comes to the box specialist safeties just because I have them I run the 3-3-5, so I have a couple of them on the field at the same time. These guys are your thumpers. These guys are your, Dante Whitner, aka Dante Hittner. They're your John Lynches. They're your old school safeties. You come across the middle. These are the guys you're looking out for. They have a lot of cool things about them. They also have some weaknesses. It's pretty obvious when you get into the weaknesses, but let's talk about them right now. For these guys' initial ratings, as you know, a box specialist, they're going to be that heavy, like bigger, thicker, kind of guy. They're pretty high in strength and hit power. They're lower in speed, acceleration, man coverage, and change of direction, obviously. The higher level recruits have some decent ratings for this. Decent's like high 80s. Like, they're not going to be like, 97 speed for a box specialist safety. If you get one, you should keep them. And then for them, their block shedding is the best among the safeties. It isn't high initially, but again, there's a way you're going to address that. Now, for their abilities there, they've got aftershock, big hits produce increased wear and tear, wrap up, improve standard tackles, hammer, improve hit stick attempts, blow up, improve impact block resistance, and then workhorse, which is protection from wear and tear impacts. All right, for the positives here, I mean, they're the best run support safety. They're also my favorite. That's not really positive. You're like, oh, it's the MF Film Room's favorite. No, they are my favorite. I'm just letting you guys know that. I'm a little biased to them. They are the ultimate wear and tear defender. So they're the foil to the contact seeker running back and the gritty possession tight end. So the contact seeker running back and the gritty possession tight end, they both have battering ram, which wears out defenders, and they have workhorse, which prevents you from being worn out. The foil to that is having workhorse and aftershock. The only defensive player to have both of those is the run support or the box specialist safety. The thumper linebacker has aftershock, and then the signal caller has workhorse, and then the hybrid also, I'm going to let you know in future, the hybrid safety also has aftershock. But the only guy that has both, basically, he can wear people out. His job is to go out there and hit people. He's the only DB with aftershock. He's the only defender with workhorse and aftershock, and he's the only DB with workhorse. The hybrid actually has aftershock as well. But they've got two abilities also in a cheap tree, the run support tree, wrap up and blow up. Blow up requires pursuit, not block shedding, but it doesn't matter because these guys can also train in block shedding. So as you see with these guys, blow up is based off of their pursuit abilities, but it doesn't matter if you're like, oh, he's going to be low in block shedding. Well, the only safety that can actually train that is the run support safety. So they have that block shedding rating right there. And as you see here, this is a coverage specialist. He does not have the block shedding in their run support tree. And this is a hybrid, and he also doesn't have that block shedding in that tree. Now, for the negatives, unfortunately, 3 of their abilities require points in an expensive tree. So they've got aftershock, hammer, and workhorse. So it's going to be hit power, and it's going to be toughness. You have to have a lot of both to get them those abilities. They also have no pass defense-related abilities, and they're marginal in those areas initially, so that kind of sucks. And then another thing that kind of hurts on these guys, too, is they cannot train agility or change of direction. So in the quickness tab for this hybrid, he's got change of direction and agility. For this coverage specialist, he has agility in the quickness tree, and then he's got change of direction in the man coverage tree. And this is a box specialist, and he has no change of direction, no agility, none of the above, none of those two, none of those two, none of those two, and none of those two. So they're not going to be that agile. They're not going to be able to change a direction. Their points require a lot, or their abilities require a lot of points. I still really like them a lot for what they do. But again, like I said, you don't want to be playing these guys deep too often. Or if you do, you're going to have to put a lot of points into those pass coverage abilities. Now, somebody who you can put deep middle is going to be a coverage specialist. These guys are the next guys. Now, these guys they're pretty cool. They've actually got a lot of cool things about them to like. I mean, they're the guy, whereas the box specialist is in the box, this guy is deep. Now, there's a lot of cool things about these guys. There's also a couple of position switches we need to discuss because I think they can give you a lot of really cool advantages. But these guys, interesting in a lot of ways. Let's discuss them more. All right, so talking about the coverage specialist, initially they are easily the fastest safety archetype. They have very high zone coverage and very good man coverage, but they're also literally comically bad on block shedding. So the strongs might not be as fast as the frees, but they're still pretty fast there. I mean, some of the free safeties, 92, 95, 93, 89, these guys can definitely run. Even some of these lower level recruits, 89, 87, they're pretty fast for safeties, 88, 89. These guys are pretty solid. Now, I will let you know, once you get over here, you're going to see some Looney Tunes low block shedding, 38 and 30 and 40 and 41. You can see the definitive jump between the guys who are already on the team. This guy is a guy who is already on the team. This guy's not. Their block shedding is comically bad. And don't worry, because when we get rid of the strong safeties, it's just as bad. I mean, this guy's 60. This guy's 31 block shedding. He has to look out for quarterbacks who are leading on reverses or something like that. These guys are horrible in terms of their ability to shed blocks. And for their abilities, they have ball hawk, improved break on passes, layout, improved dive catches, house call, improved interception attempts, robber, improved movement and zone coverage, and then knockout, improved catch knockouts in coverage. All right, for the positives and negatives of these guys, okay, they're easily the best in coverage, except for maybe press. I think that from what I could tell, the hybrids were better at press. We'll get to them in a second here. Now, for them, their man coverage tree actually is pretty cool. So they have, whereas the whereas the box specialist and the hybrid have a coverage tree, these guys have a man coverage tree and a zone coverage tree. The zone coverage tree, you can get these guys really good. You can put points into one thing, and you get them zone coverage, awareness, and play recognition. It's pretty dominant. So this is a box specialist. He has zone, man, and press all in his pass coverage tree. This is a hybrid. He has zone, man, and press in his pass coverage tree. Now, this is the coverage specialist. Now, for him, he's got in his zone coverage tree, he's got zone awareness and play recognition. And his man, he's got man, press, and change of direction. It's actually pretty cool that he's got those, that you can put points into each of these and get more than just you think. I mean, this right here is zone awareness and press, or zone awareness and play recognition. Dude, he can get really, really good as a deep safety just with this ability. And then also, two of his abilities are in a dirt cheap tree, which is hands. You can get him layout and you can get him house call. Now, unfortunately, most coverage specialists don't have high initial spectacular catch, so you have to invest a lot into hands quite a bit just to get layout. Again, if you check them out, spectacular catch is kind of hard to find initially, but all of them, it's all low. So here are those coverage specialist guys. You're like, all right, let's get them that spectacular catch. 42, 34, 45. This guy's 25 spectacular catch. You have to give him like almost 50 points just to get that ability. It's a big haul. They also have 0 run defense related abilities, and they're low on those traits anyway. I mean, they're basically a deep free safety only. I do think this is a kind of a good caveat here. One solution to this is to recruit a contested specialist athlete and put them at free safety. If you're like, hey, dude, you're playing deep only, might as well get a dude who's already got great spectacular catch, aka a contested specialist receiver, put them at deep free safety, keep them out there. And last but not least, these guys cannot train block shedding or injury or toughness. So this is a box specialist, and he can train block shedding. He can also train toughness. This is a hybrid. He can train injury. We know he can't train block shedding, and unfortunately, he also doesn't have the ability to train toughness, but he actually has injury. And this is the coverage specialist. No toughness, no injury, 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 and no toughness and no injury. And last but not least of our defensive back archetypes, we have the hybrid strong safety and free safety. So these guys, again, the hybrid, they're kind of your do-it-all, do everything. They can run, they can hit, they can this, they can that. There's a lot of cool things about them. You can never go wrong with recruiting one of these guys on your team. Let's break these guys down. All right, so their initial ratings, from what you can see, that all of them can run pretty well. Again, they're not as fast maybe as the coverage specialist, but they can run pretty well. Their speed, acceleration, agility, and change of direction is all pretty good. They actually have higher man coverage than zone coverage, and they have the highest press among these cornerbacks. So these guys are guys who they can play in the slot. They can go here. They can go there. They can kind of do everything there. Their block shedding is pretty low. I mean, even amongst the higher level recruits, it's pretty low. It's not as bad as the coverage. I mean, coverage specialists, it was Looney Tunes low. But for these guys, it was pretty low. And then for their abilities, wrap up, improve standard tackles, hammer, improve hit stick attempts, knockout, improve catch knockouts, aftershock, big hits produce increase wear and tear, and then blow up, improve impact block resistance. For the positives there, it's a hybrid. He can do this, he can do that, they can do it all. They're very good at man coverage and press for a safety, so they're the best safety for zero blitzing. So if you need a free safety to come up and man cover somebody to make sure that you can blitz them and get them, you'd really like a hybrid safety. They also have an awesome combination of run and pass abilities. So you think about what they have there. So they've got wrap up, which is a run ability. They've got knockout, which is pass ability. They've got blow up, which is a run ability. And then they have hammer and aftershock, which are kind of both. I mean, they are hitting abilities, but they've kind of got a cool combination of both of those there. Now, one cheap tree, the run support tree, can give you two abilities, the wrap up and blow up. Now, remember for them, blow up requires pursuit and not block shedding. So this is a hybrid safety. And remember here, to get blow up, improve impact block resistance, he just needs pursuit. He doesn't need block shedding. That's also the same thing as the box specialist. This is a box specialist right here. He just requires pursuit, although he can train block shedding ability. Now for the negatives here, you cannot train block shedding or catch in traffic. It was kind of weird. I saw that someone can get spectacular catch, but these guys can't train catch in traffic, which is kind of weird. I mean, it's not super big, but that's a consideration. Also, hammer and aftershock require a lot of points in an expensive tree, the power tree. You have to have a ton of hit power to get those. I have a free safety who's a hybrid right now, and he's going to require a ton of points to get those abilities, so it's going to kind of be a slog to get there. The lower dev trait hybrids kind of need to pick what they are. They can't do it all well, meaning with their abilities. So are you going to be a run defender? Are you going to get knockout where it requires like high 80s, mid to high 80s zone and man coverage? Aftershock's going to require a ton of points. Hammer's going to require a ton of points. Blow up and wrap up won't, because that's a cheaper tree when you talk about the run support tree. But again, if you have a lower dev trait with these guys, you kind of got to pick what you are. All right, and finally here, getting to the rankings. Remember, we have these rankings, and then we have the gem rankings. We're going to talk about the regular rankings first. The number one guy is the boundary corner, in my opinion, because I feel like you can draft, or you can sign a normal dev trait boundary corner, and he'll be able to contribute sophomore, junior, senior year. Maybe you might require a little bit of cooking in the oven there, but he's going to be pretty good. Same thing with the run support safety. I love the run support safety. Those guys, especially if they have, a blow up, their ability to resist those impact blocks, they can help out a lot in the running game. Then the coverage specialist, for the exact opposite reason, put them deep, never worry about them, you're going to be just fine. Then the zone cornerback, I think the zone cornerback, like I said, the really cool combination of athleticism across the board. You can plug and play them right away in a zone heavy scheme and you're going to be just fine. Then you get to the hybrid free safety, strong safety. The reason why is because if you don't know if they're a gem or not, you don't know what they're going to be. Then the field cornerback is just so dang slow. You're gonna have to put a lot of points into that, and that's an expensive tree to put points into. The quickness tree, also the power tree. They're not dynamic athletes. And then the bump and run corner. The bump and run corner can run, and the tree you have to put points in, which is pretty cheap. The man in zone, but you have to put a ton of points in it to get them anywhere to be able to put them on the field. Now, the gem rankings is almost the opposite. So it was close between the bump and run and the field, but dude, if you get a really good field cornerback, they will lock down any side of the field they're on. I actually have one right now who is, he's only like 84, 85 overall, but he's got a couple abilities. I can't complete a pass over there. Zone, man, this or that. He is just deep coverage, flat coverage. He is dominant. If you have to put some points in athleticism for the fields and maybe even for the strength, but they are so good, man in zone. The bump and run, dude, if you get a really good bump and run guy and he just runs man coverage, it's going to be a long day for that receiver. I don't care what anybody says, he can run. Then the boundary corner, again, you saw the first three are corners. Sorry, in the NFL draft, cornerbacks go before the safeties do. The safeties are important, but the boundary corner, you get a guy with like gold or platinum quick jump and he can run jammer and he's the best slot corner. It's not even close. Then the run support safety, again, they have that aftershock and they have workhorse. They're going to be laying dudes out. It's going to be awesome. Then I'm going to have the hybrid free safety, strong safety. They can kind of do everything. The zone quarterback, their ceiling's just not as high as the field of the bump and run, but I still like them. And then the coverage specialist, like I said, I think that coverage specialist, it'd be really cool to put a guy deep who's dynamic in coverage, but I think that it's just not as cool as the other ones there. And we are to the end of that. Now, again, that's just the position fields. We're still going to have the kickers and punters later on. That'll be a quicker video, obviously. But you can see there that is a long video. That's a lot of archetypes to go through. There were even some changes I had to make mid-video as I was going through it. But again, you guys get in the comments and let me know, what do you like to play? I've never gone all zone and coverage specialist, but I'm kind of thinking about doing it. What are things you guys like to do? What are recruits that intrigue you? What did you learn from this video? Get in the comments and let me know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.